Hello and welcome to Ani's Short Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Ghostly Gardener of Mottistone. Holly Arnold arrived at Mottistone Manor under the late afternoon sun, its rays casting long shadows across the sprawling gardens. A keen botanist and historical researcher, Holly had been invited to catalogue the rare plants in the centuries-old estate. As she stepped through the weathered iron gates, the scent of lavender and rosemary mingled with the salty tang of the Isle of Wight sea air. Yet beneath the beauty, an unsettling stillness hung in the air. "You'll want to be gone by sundown," warned Mr. Porter, the manor's caretaker. His weathered face was etched with concern. Holly dismissed the warning with a polite nod. She had heard the local legends about the ghostly gardener, a restless spirit said to haunt the gardens, but she chalked them up to folklore. Work awaited her, and she had no time for superstition. The gardens were a labyrinth of beauty, each section revealing a new marvel: rows of fragrant roses, towering hedges trimmed into fantastical shapes, and a glasshouse teeming with exotic blooms. Yet one area stood out. At the garden's heart lay an overgrown plot encircled by a crumbling stone wall. The gate bore an intricate iron motif of vines and thorns, its hinges rusted shut. "That's the forbidden garden." But curiosity got the better of Holly. With effort she pried the gate open and stepped inside. The air grew colder, and the lively hum of insects fell silent. At the center of the plot stood a lone oak tree, its gnarled branches stretching like skeletal arms toward the sky. Beneath it, a moss-covered bench faced an ancient fountain, its stone basin dry and cracked. As Holly examined the area, she noticed faint carvings on the bench. The name Edward was etched deep into the wood, accompanied by the date 1837. She ran her fingers over the markings, feeling an unshakable sense of sorrow. Suddenly, a chill coursed through her, and she turned sharply. A figure stood by the oak tree. It was a man, dressed in a tattered gardener's uniform. His face was pale and gaunt, his eyes hollow. He carried a rusted spade, its blade caked with earth. Holly's breath caught in her throat. "You shouldn't be here," the apparition said. Holly stumbled back, her rational mind grappling with the impossibility of what she was seeing. Who are you?" "Edward Blake, once a gardener of this estate." As he spoke, the air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth. Shadows deepened, and the garden seemed to close around them. Holly's instinct screamed for her to flee, but her curiosity anchored her in place. "Why are you here?" Edward's gaze darkened. "I was wronged, betrayed by those I trusted. The master of the house accused me of a crime I didn't commit. They hanged me beneath this very tree." Holly felt a pang of empathy but also fear. The ghost expression softened, and for a moment Holly thought she saw a glimmer of hope in his hollow eyes. "Find the truth. Prove my innocence." Determined, Holly delved into the manor's archives that evening. Candlelight flickered as she pored over brittle documents and faded letters. She unearthed a journal belonging to Lord Harrington, the estate's master in 1837. Its entries painted a grim picture of jealousy and deceit. Edward had been framed by Harrington, who sought to hide his own misdeeds. As she worked, a storm brewed outside. The wind howled, rattling the windows, and shadows seemed to dance on the walls. Once she thought she heard footsteps behind her, but when she turned, no one was there. The manor itself seemed to conspire against her efforts, its ancient timbers creaking ominously as if in protest. At last, Holly uncovered the damning evidence, a signed confession hidden within the pages of an old ledger. The confession detailed Harrington's schemes and implicated him in the crimes for which Edward had been executed. Holly's hands trembled as she held the fragile paper, the weight of its truth pressing down on her. Armed with the journal and confession, Holly returned to the forbidden garden at midnight. The moon bathed the plot in an eerie silver light. Edward appeared once more, his spectral form wavering like mist. The oak tree's branches seemed to sway in a wind she could not feel, and the fountain's dry basin gleamed as if expecting renewal. "I found it," Holly said. Edward's face crumpled with emotion. "Thank you." The air around him began to shimmer, and a faint smile crossed his lips as his form dissolved into the night. But just as he began to fade completely, the ground beneath the oak trembled. Holly stumbled as the earth cracked open, revealing a buried chest. Inside were relics of Edward's life, a locket, a diary, and a small garden spade inscribed with his initials. As Holly retrieved the items, a voice gently now whispered through the night. "These are yours to keep. Tell my story." The fountain gurgled to life, water spilling into its basin for the first time in decades. The oppressive chill lifted, replaced by a sense of peace that seemed to radiate from the very soil. The forbidden garden, once a place of sorrow, now felt like a sanctuary. Holly left Mottistone Manor the next morning, her heart heavy yet hopeful. The garden's beauty was restored, and its ghost finally at rest. She took Edward's relics with her, vowing to preserve his story. And though the manor's shadows no longer whispered of torment, Holly knew she would forever carry the echoes of Edward's plea, a reminder of how truth can set even the most tormented spirits free. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.